Here we go!
My friends, the year is 2020. The future is here. And perhaps no better evidence than a truly remarkable speedrun set just days ago. Runway is GoldenEye 007's third stage, and on Agent difficulty, the target time is 5 minutes, the most generous target time of all, with any player, master or novice, easily able to unlock the DK mode cheat. On March 9, 2004, Brian Bosshart beat Runway Agent in a blistering 22 seconds, an Untied World Record when set, which would go on to become GoldenEye's longest standing record in the history of the game, being matched but never beaten by 151 other speedrunners over the following 16 years. But on February 18, 2020, speedrunning history changed forever. This is the story of Runway Agent 21.
Whoa! Yes! I got 22! I got 22 in RTA!
And where to begin? Well, in 1998, a handful of folks had 25, and then in 99 and 2000, a couple dozen people got 24. Then from December 2000 to early 2004, even more speedrunners got 23, 59 speedrunners to be exact, and then voila, 4 years later, Boss became the first person to get 22 seconds on a beautiful, iconic 7-boost run. This took place in an era where Boss, along with Wouter Jansen, would begin to optimize records that had become heavily tied. Boss had broken a 36-way tie with Damn Agent 53. Wouter broke a 56-way deadlock on Bunker 1 Agent with 17 seconds. And these, when set, would be considered some of the game's greatest records. It would take several years for any of these records to get tied, but upon the dawn of the 2010s, the live streaming era, and the renaissance of speedrunning, new optimizations, knowledge, and precedent would result in these records becoming more and more tied. These records, along with Archive's Agent 16, were so frequently tied, in fact, that they would go on to colloquially be dubbed the Boring Four, no longer seen as exciting when someone would tie one. You can imagine seeing the world record feed light up and realizing it's only the 97th Runway 22 wasn't quite as thrilling for most community members as seeing, say, an Aztec 00 Agent untied. However, these records began to take on a life of their own, as achieving the Boring Four became sort of a quest or rite of passage one would pass through, getting their first few GoldenEye world records on their way to becoming an established GoldenEye speedrunner.
Please, for the love of God. Yes! Yes! Oh my God! I got a world record!
However, in December 2017, that all changed. Carl Jobst, Damn Agent 52, Archives Agent 15, and later on, Bunker 1 Agent 16. Leaving Runway 22 as the only remaining record among the Boring Four. Now you may remember Damn 52 was such a huge deal because at the time, Damn 53 was the record which had stood for the longest period of time, 5,545 days, or roughly 15 years and 3 months, and also had accumulated the most ties with 127 people having scored the record. This was truly remarkable, and with Carl knocking off other old records, Runway Agent 22 became the absolute oldest, still standing record in the game, slowly beginning to creep up towards Damn 53's 5,545 days. May 16, 2019 came and went quietly on the GoldenEye rankings. Not a single world record was even tied in the game. But this date was Runway Agent 22's 5,546th day of existing as a record, becoming the record that stood longer than any other in the game's history. About half a year earlier, I uploaded this video asking if Runway Agent 21 is possible. And the conclusion we came to was that, since most Runway Agent 22s have 7 boost, and some only had 6, a boost again being when you take damage from behind, pushing you forward, thus saving roughly 0.3 seconds, then on a theoretical run with 9 boosts, 21 might be possible. Or on a theoretical run with 8 boosts where 2 of them were chained, that being one immediately after another, 21 might be possible. However, even before this, something else was happening. The virtually unknown speedrunner Eric Berg Bergman, ranked outside of the top 100 in GoldenEye, had been experimenting, brainstorming, theorizing, working on Runway Agent 21. Berg had been a believer, or at least wanted to believe such a thing was possible. In January 2018, Berg had become the 90th person to achieve Runway Agent 22, and by May of that year had begun replaying the level, exploring possibilities, trying to feel out whether or not he could be the one to get 21. The quest took on a life of its own over the next couple of years. One of Berg's confidants and collaborators was the mad genius Ted, somewhere between a Rain Man and Nikola Tesla. You may remember, Ted is the speedrun researcher who came up with the out-of-order keys or ook strategy on Surface 1, a strategy theorized to save 10 or more seconds, but still hasn't been performed in a legitimate run. So he definitely has a mind for seeing improvements in time, whether they end up being practical or not. By summer 2019, the research and efforts seemed on the cusp of breaking through. Berg got this run using a Game Shark to embed a timer on screen. We can see it's a 22.95 with 4 boosts. Now again, given a boost saves 0.3 seconds, with 4 additional boosts, could this be proof of concept that an 8 boost run would give 21? Well, not quite. Berg had to still sort something out. Just how much time would looking up lose to lag? Sure, this run had 4 boosts, but it was looking down the whole way, reducing as much lag as possible. Would looking up to throw the grenades lose more than 0.2 seconds, thus making 8 boosts unable to get 21, no matter how we cut it? Ted created a really remarkable custom ROM which inputted these splits on screen, giving them the ability to fully analyze every single run in detail not previously possible for GoldenEye. And what they learned comparing dozens of runs was that looking up to juggle the grenades lost about 0.2 seconds. Now, by the math, this might have indicated that an 8 boost run could get 21.95, but in reality, in practice, it's not so simple. For one, throwing the grenades in the air and having them land right behind you, what we call the nade juggle, is pretty hard to pull off to say the least. No one had ever been able to pull off a 7 nade juggle down the runway until Berg, and it'll take years for most to learn how to do it. And not only that, but most of the time, even if you get all 7 boosts, the boosts you get won't be at a perfectly square angle, thus the momentum push won't be in the perfect direction, thus every boost, let alone all of them, will probably not save the full 0.3 seconds. So yeah, the dream of getting an absolutely picture-perfect 8 boost 21 was out there, but more of a dream than anything actually doable. But that's okay because there were ways to get 9 boosts. Using a special technique, you could get 2 boosts in the key hut area. Berg got this down, and in combination with his 7 nade boost juggle down the runway, grinded away and eventually completed a run with 9 boosts. And it was 22. Yeah, it seemed as though 9-0 still wasn't cutting it, and the journey to 21 would end here. Berg got a couple more runs with the perfect, insane, unbelievable, once theoretical 9 boosts, and they were all 22. So what exactly was going on here? Well, for one, Berg realized pretty quickly that the remarkable double boost key hut area didn't actually save time. That's right, boosts can be deceiving, and with Ted's splits they could learn without a doubt that the double boost was useless. In order to get the second boost there, you're forced into taking a slightly wider turn around the hut, which loses the theoretical time gained, and this avenue hit a dead end. So what now? Well, the mates put the Runway 21 quest on the back burner for a few months, letting it percolate, sizzle away, hoping something else, one final piece, would be found. And months later, that's just what happened. On February 18th, 2020, the elite community was stunned when they saw the world record feed light up with Eric Bergman, Runway Agent 21. Most people didn't really know he was going for this, and those who didn't think he had a serious chance of getting it. We hadn't been this stunned maybe ever. Everyone rushed to watch the video to see how he did it, and this is what we saw.
Let's just watch this 21 real quick. Wait, this is music off? How the hell did he get this without music? Like, that's mind-boggling to me. That's 9 boosts. Let me watch this again. This is not 8, this is 9 boosts. 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, it is 8. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. I can't believe that's 21. I mean, I'll be honest, like, this run does not look impressive to me. I mean, not that it's not impressive, but, like, I'm surprised it's even 21, to be honest. Like, that's mind-blowing to me. If you do the math, it should have been 22. I don't know. That's crazy. Like, that has to be, like, 0.99, though. But, honestly, I'm kind of underwhelmed. Like, I thought the run would be, like, 10 boosts, but 8 boosts?
And to be honest, I had the same reaction. Sure, we had never really seen a run with 8 boosts, 7 of which were juggles down the runway, all looking up in the air, but the run just didn't look that insane. I think we were just expecting something even more insane. Berg's journey was pretty hushed, only confiding in his strategies with Ted and a few other close friends, but the run just didn't have the awe factor that we'd become used to seeing on other recent monumental Untieds. And that's exactly it. The secret to 21 rests in something unseen. Let's turn back the clock only a short bit. On February 1, 2020, a number of GoldenEye and Perfect Arc speedrunners unhoarded numerous records in what they dubbed Project 2020. That being, they'd spent the last few months scoring all sorts of new personal records, saved them up, and released them all at once in a cool, fun, produced video, really for no other reason than having fun and creating a cool project for fellow community members to enjoy and get excited about. That unhoard, among others, featured Perfect Ace, who had revealed numerous world records, 8 Untieds, but also that he had become the 35th person to tie Runway Secret Agent 22, a time that would propel him back into first place on the GoldenEye rankings.
Oh, new champ.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, he finally got him.
Now that 22 doesn't have anything particularly special, it's a 5 boost look down 22. But in the aftermath of the Unhorde, Ace shared a few videos of other interesting runs he'd played out while he was playing in secret. And one of those runs was this Runway Secret Agent 22 failed battery throw with only 4 boosts. Now Berg did have a 22.95 with 4 boosts, but doing this while also adjusting your lines slightly to attempt the nade battery throw, the additional objective on Secret Agent, well, that seemed to be impossible, or at least defied modern convention. And yes, he's Ace, the best GoldenEye speedrunner of all time, but still, something else was going on here. There's just no way Ace should have been able to pace a 22 like this, or so we thought. Watch carefully and see if you can notice what Berg and Ted eventually picked up on. Ace threw a grenade at these 2 guards in the key hut. You see, if you look down during your run down the runway, these 2 guards will often shoot down the runway and destroy the getaway plane, failing the mission. So when using this look down method, a method we don't use on Agent because it maxes out at 5 or so boosts, Ace found it useful to throw an extra grenade passing away the 2 guards in the key hut. A general side effect of passing away guards is that it reduces lag, thus dropping fewer frames. We knew this on levels like Train and Silo, where you plow through 20 plus guards, but we never thought that eliminating 2 guards would make a substantial difference. However, using Ted's ROM splits and advanced technology, Berg was able to determine this actually saves about 0.15 seconds on runway. Maybe enough to be the final piece for Runway Agent 21. And from that point on, Berg was playing with renewed vigor, sensing that a well-juggled 8-boost run with the 0.15 second key hut nade time save would be just enough for 21. In the days after studying Ace's run, Berg got this run, a 7-boost 22.16. Surely this meant that one more perfect run with 8 boosts and passing away the hut guards would be enough for 21. And it was. After 5,824 days, Runway Agent 22 was no longer the world record, and Berg had become the unexpected hero of GoldenEye. March 9, 2004 to February 18, 2020. Nearly 16 years gone, like a fart in a windstorm. 152 people lost a world record, 81 of whom lost their only world record in GoldenEye, and among them, Wouter Jansen, a past champion and the guy who had achieved more world records than anyone else in the game's history. Wouter Jansen, who set 282 world records between 1999 and 2014, woke up for the first time since 1999 without holding a single share of any GoldenEye world record. Many of the GoldenEye Untied since 2017 have pushed the limits of the game, were times thought to be impossible only a few years before, and signaled the entry of a new era of GoldenEye speedrunning. But none quite as much as Runway Agent 21. A truly, and I mean this, truly remarkable speedrun. The 2-year journey that Berg had been on, experimenting with the game, trying all the different keys until he finally found the ones that would unlock Runway 21, was simply incredible. Unbelievable, made believable, only because of how far speedrunning has come. He had to learn a 7-nade juggle down the runway. He had to debunk our intuition that a 2-boost hut area would save time. He had to wait until new discoveries and pieces came together, and then he had to execute it all in one perfect run. Berg estimates that Ted's ROM splits saved him perhaps a year's worth of grinding and experimentation that would have had to have been otherwise crudely done by trial and error. A truly remarkable feat in both speedrun research, testing, and performance. So there was a brief row about the capture quality of the Runway 21. You see, ever since the early 2010s when we had records that looked like these, there's been a big effort to improve the quality of video captures, especially when it comes to important Untied World Records. And new proof policies have since been drafted up, with clear rules on what is or is not considered acceptable proof to be ranked. This frame is an example of ghosting, frames blending together, an effect of recording 30 frames per second gameplay in a frame rate other than 30 or 60 FPS. And that's exactly what we see on the Runway 21. It doesn't make videos necessarily any easier to fake, but it just looks ugly, and doesn't meet the high standards put forth for premier Untied World Records. Going by the book, this means that Runway 21 should not be allowed to stand on the rankings. However, the proof moderator Troubleclef went back and watched Berg's previous runs, noting that on all his stuff up until mid-2018 it was well captured. However, from mid-2018 to present, we see evidence of ghosting, likely due to Berg changing his capture process. Troubleclef took ownership of not catching Berg's ghosting quality earlier, and allowed the Runway 21 to stand this one time, with an absolute final warning for any future world record setters to make sure they're recording at a proper frame rate, and that the runs do not exhibit any ghosting from here on out. And this move was universally commended by the community, so all's well that ends well. So where do we stand now? Well, the 2 next oldest standing world records are the only remaining records set before 2010, both set in 2008, Surface 1 Agent 102 and Statue 00 Agent 218. And if you're wondering whether or not those are beatable, well, you're in luck, because I've already made videos about them. So take a look if you're interested. Thanks for watching, stay true, and I'll see you in the next stream or video.